Good afternoon, everyone. So, welcome to Amrita IAS Academy. So, in this program, the idea is to give you those high focus areas, high value, high yield areas of the subject of economy. Okay. So, why this program? Why at this time? Simply saying, prelims is coming up, and we need to focus on the major subjects, especially in the major subjects, the major areas, because we have hardly 1.5 months left. Okay, 45 days is left, and it is our solemn duty that we get you all the necessary information with regards to making sure that this 45 days are productive and useful for your preparation. Okay, so today we'll be looking at the subject of economy, how we should be approaching the subject. All that has already been covered earlier. So today's agenda, or in this video, we'll be discussing about how we can focus, what are the focus areas, what are the general subjects that we know that economy has, what is the trend over the past 3 years, and how we can predict or how we can plan for the upcoming prelims examination of 2023. So frankly saying, if you look at the major 4 static subjects, so in prelims there are majorly 4 static subjects: history, geography, polity, and economy. Environment, kind of current affair focus too. So if you look at this, out of all these 4 subjects, economy has the least portion to cover in terms of quantity. In terms of quantity, economy is the smallest. You take history, lots of portions to cover. Geography, again lots. Polity, kind of big when you, especially relative to economy. But economy is a very small subject quantitatively. Qualitatively, equal to all these subjects. So, taking this aspect, because there is a paucity of time for the next 1.5 months, I want you to give due focus on economy, especially the high focus areas, so that you can get through the exam as quickly as possible. Okay. So, as part of that, I want you to know the general approach towards prelims economy. This may sound very static, very unoriginal, what everyone does, but please understand, those people who are doing, this is the same advice given last year, this is the same advice given the previous year. The same advice has been followed and it has helped people clear the prelims exam again and again. So keeping that point in mind, please get your NCERT or standard books of economy covered. When I say NCERT, 9th standard onwards, not below that. 9th and 10th, quite easy. You can finish it off in like 1 day or half a day. Quite easy. 11th and 12th, learn it well. Especially the 5-year plans, the 11th standard, 12th standard, macroeconomics, please learn it well. Then, standard textbooks. There are many standard textbooks. Ramesh Singh, Shankar Ganesh, Vivek Singh, I don't care. Take one textbook, stick to it. Take one standard book, stick to it. It is not feasible to go and read 1, 2, 3, all 3, 4 books. No. Take one book properly and stick to it. Read it from cover to cover. Only then it will help you in your preparation. So, NCERT, standard textbooks. Then, current affair compilations, magazines, newspapers, whatever is your choice of poison, feel free to choose one, because they are needed. Economy as a subject has lots of impact on current affairs, and many of the questions that come up in economy depend upon the current affairs scenario. So please give due diligence to economic current affairs. Like I said, look at your compilations, look at your magazines. You have your own personal notes, wonderful. Keep all that in mind and do keep revising it often. Then finally, PYQs. They give you a general idea of how the exam is happening. Okay, they'll help you cover the major areas, know where they are coming from, etc., etc. And along with this, I would like to add one more thing: mock test. But this is general stuff. Everyone says this. This is the approach. So for the next 45 days also, I expect you to have by now, not for the next 45 days, by now you should have a very thorough idea of your NCERT or standard textbooks, at least what is happening. You should be giving due focus to your PYQs, mock test and your current affairs for the next 45 days. So, how is it going to be relevant in the prelims examination? Like you to bring your attention towards these three things. The past 3-year prelims economy analysis, okay? Just the economic portion. Now, this can be a bit different from what other institutes or other faculty are researching and saying. It's a matter of perspective. So, ignore it on that front, okay? But if you look at it in general, you realize that 2020 had, this is static, 7 questions, dynamic 18, 2021, static 11, dynamic 5, 2022 the latest, static 6, dynamic 9. What is static and dynamic? Simply saying any question if you take from economy, if it is from the conventional areas, okay, conventional areas. When I say conventional areas, topics like money and banking, which you read in your NCERTs, topics which you read in your standard textbooks, topics which are bread and butter of the basic economics textbook. If they belong to that portion, I will refer to that portion as static. Okay. If they don't belong to the conventional economics topic, maybe they are based out of economic survey, or maybe they are based out of budget, or maybe they are based out of some recent current affair that has come up, some recent legislation that has been passed, or some recent reform in tax code or something. Anything of that sort which does not fall within the conventional part of the basic textbook, I will consider that inside dynamic. Agriculture, even though it is a part of economy, I generally consider it as under the topic of dynamic, because agriculture is a part of economy in mains portion mainly. So, in prelims, I'll consider that as a dynamic angle or dynamic portion to be covered under the prelims economy. Okay. So, if you look at it, 2020, 7 static, 18 dynamic, 2021, 11 static, 5 dynamic, 2022, 6 static, dynamic 9. 2020 was special. Why? Agriculture acquired so much importance. There were like multiple questions, close to 8 to 10 questions were simply based on agriculture. That is why this number shot up like anything. So, I could have put up a separate tag saying that this is agriculture, but generally that year was an anomaly with regards to questions based on agriculture. There were questions on sugarcane, cultivation, etc., many different questions. So, the dynamic portions increased by 8 to 10 questions. Okay. But assume that it is 10 questions. Assume it is 10 questions. You remove the agriculture part. It comes like 7 static, 10 dynamic. 2021, 11 static, 5 dynamic. 2022, 6 static, 9 dynamic. Approximately 17 questions, 16 questions, 15 questions. Some will vary. I told you it's a matter of perspective. So, some questions I would have taken under economy, some I have taken it under international relations, or some I have taken it under some completely different topics. So, it depends. But generally, I can say that 15 to 18 questions are guaranteed to come, or 15 to 20 questions are guaranteed to come from economy. Okay. 15, here it's 18, it can even go beyond that. So, keeping these points in mind, if you look at the way the static and dynamic is changing, 1 year the number of questions in static is less, the next year it is high, then again it reduces. So, if you are looking at a pattern kind of an understanding, 2023, possibility, not probability, possibility, static can be close to 10 and dynamic can be 5 or 7, 5 to 7. Okay. This is simply a possibility I put forward in front of you. Okay. Just knowing this doesn't give you any edge, but it helps you in preparing for the topics, especially which are in the static part, because dynamic part keeps changing. Static part you can focus really well and prepare. So to give an example of what exactly is this static question, this dynamic question, I have taken two examples, both of them from 2022 question paper. Okay. So if you look at the static question with reference to Indian economy, consider the following statements. If the inflation is too high, RBI is likely to buy government securities. If rupee is rapidly depreciating, RBI is likely to sell dollars in the market. If interest rates in USA or EU were to fall, likely to induce RBI to buy dollars. Such statements given above is correct. 1 and 2 only, 2 and 3 only, 1 and 3 only, 1, 2 and 3. This is a completely static question. Why? Look at the first statement. If inflation is too high, RBI is likely to buy government securities. If RBI buys government securities, RBI will have to infuse the money into the economy. That means if whatever the situation is, more money supply is going to come in, and when more supply is going to happen, inflation is going to increase. So already the inflation is too high. When RBI buys the security, in return they have to give the money. So this will actually push up the inflation. So RBI is not going to do that. RBI is simply going to sell the securities. It's not going to buy it, it's going to sell the security to reduce the inflation. Second statement is wrong. You're left with just one answer, option B, 2 and 3. Pure static question. This is what I meant. You understand what is inflation, relation with monetary policy, money and banking. You got the answer. That's it. Nothing fancy. Straightforward question. Static question. Now look at the dynamic question. Rapid financing instrument and rapid credit facility are related to the provisions of lending by which one of the following? These organizations we have heard of. We have already heard of, we've even studied about it, maybe as part of static and also part of current affairs, but this was a current affair question. Rapid financing instrument and rapid credit facility. So based out of simple logic, I will eliminate option C, United Nations Environment Program Finance Initiative. Because it says financing instrument, rapid credit facility, the idea is to give credit or extend a line of credit. And when 2002, when this was happening, Sri Lanka was undergoing an economic crisis, Pakistan was also undergoing an economic crisis, and IMF brought in a change or brought in some instruments known as rapid financing instrument, rapid credit facility to extend credit to those nations who are beleaguered by balance of payment problems. So it was a current affair question and the answer was option B. IMF is something you learn as part of external sector in your static portion, but this question was a dynamic question. I hope you understand the difference between static and dynamic. Okay, UPSC will ask a proper division between static and dynamic questions. Okay, dynamic questions we cannot predict beyond a certain limit because it is current affair oriented. Ideally, but I can tell you, having some common sense will help you eliminate C. And you know that ADB and World Bank are not necessarily lending institutions, they are development institutions. You would have learned about it. You would have learned that World Bank lends money only for development, not for some finance or anything. They give money for development. Usually they do joint projects with the government to lay roads, for groundwater rejuvenation, for solar power plant or something. They don't extend credit for balance of payments. In that, only IMF is there. So using that logic too, you can come to this answer. What this provides for you is, once you know your static well, 90% of your dynamic questions can be easily attended. 90%. But there is a condition clause I add to that. You should know your static questions well. So we will be focusing, this video will be focusing on ensuring that you know the static area as well. And once you know the static area as well, automatically it will help in your dynamic areas. Okay. So I have taken the 2022 question paper and I have taken all the economic questions. First we look at the static questions. You will understand which topic it has come up from. Then we look at the dynamic questions. We will understand which topic it has come up from. And finally, with that analysis, I will tell you what are the areas you should focus on, because we will be looking at the major subjects too, major topics in the economy. So that will give you an analysis of what are the areas you should be focusing on for this next 45 days. Okay. So this is the general thing. You take any economy textbook, you take any standard textbook, these are the major areas we will be covering. Money and banking, which has RBI, monetary policy, etc., etc. public finance, budget, economic survey, national income, product method, inflation, all that stuff, external sector, capital market, balance of payments, etc., etc., planning, Niti Aayog, 5-year plans, everything. Then we have our miscellaneous topics or current affairs. So let me break this down. When you break this down, it comes like, let's take money and banking first. These are the major areas. Please make a note of it, take a screenshot, write it down, whatever you want, please do it right now. Okay. These are the areas you cannot afford to quit. These are the areas you cannot afford to quit. This looks like everything is being covered, sir. To an extent, yes, but I have skipped many portions. Okay. But these are the absolutely minimum areas you should be covering. If you do not cover this area, please, ideally, I would say you will be scoring very less marks in economy if you don't cover these areas. Okay. Let's look at money and banking. What is money? The function and classification. Then Reserve Bank of India, its duties, its powers, etc. Monetary policy, very important. Capital market, so Sibi also comes under it. Then banking structure in India, domestically, systematically important banks, different types of banks, scheduled commercial bank, urban cooperative bank, RRB, rural, regional rural bank, all this you should be learning in money and banking. Please learn about it well. Please make a note of it. I want you to search for these topics in your standard textbooks and learn about it well. In case your book does not have it, quite possible, the book that you are referring may not have certain topics, do a Google search, read, understand about it. Guaranteed questions are going to come from these topics. I insist you learn about this. Money and banking is very, very important. Now we'll go to the next important topic, that is public finance. Don't worry, at the end we'll be solving the 2022 question paper, economic question, so you'll understand the topics, how that came from. Okay. Budget is there, fiscal policy is there, FRBM Act is there, GST is there, tax structure in India is there, and the center state distribution. Now that's a great advantage. Center state distribution, tax structure, GST, fiscal policy, except for budget and FRBM, the remaining 4 topics will be covered thoroughly in economic survey. What is the tax structure? What is the central state distribution? Everything will be covered really well in the economic survey. Should you sit and read that entire economic survey? No. Watch the video. Watch the videos. Okay. You don't have time to watch the videos. Do a Google search. Gist of economic survey. You get a PDF or something. Is it good? No, it is not. Ideally, I would prefer if you watch a video or get some more in-depth analysis. But instead of just not reading the economic survey and just leaving it blank, far better you at least do this so that you'll have some basic understanding of it. Okay. So, public finance, money and banking. These are the major topics. Please take a screenshot, learn it well. Okay. Then we come to external sector. Balance of payments, exchange regimes, foreign investment, international agreements, trade agreements. This international agreement talks about GATT, or simply saying IMF, Bretton Woods institutions, World Bank, what is that, ADB, AIIB, all these things will come under this international agreements. Trade agreements, this GATT all comes under trade agreements, not here. Okay. TRIPS, TRIMS, all this will come over here. Foreign investment, FDI, FPI, etc., etc. Convertibility comes under exchange regimes. Convertibility is an important topic to cover. Then balance of payments, what is there in the current account, what is there in the capital account, all these points you should be looking at in balance of payments too. Core areas of economic external sector, there are many smaller topics, leave that. Unless and until you finish this, you don't go for those smaller peripheral topics. If you can't finish this portion, you looking at other portions is not going to help at all. Okay. So give due importance, give primary importance to these topics and finish it. Okay. Then planning. Planning is an area where UPSC has frequently asked questions recently, like 1-2 questions will come definitely from planning. And planning is an area you already learn as part of NCERT, 11th NCERT. So keeping these points in mind, history of planning, planning institutions, planning commission, etc. The various models, Mahal-Nobis model, Harold-Domer model. That's what I mean under planning institutions. Then what are the 5-year plans? Significance. Each plan will have some significance. What was their focus? Just know that. Then the present institution, Niti Aayog. Okay. Then there is something known as regional planning, national planning. Just do a Google search if you don't have the topic, more than enough. Nothing more than this. Okay. Don't have to learn more than this. Planning is a very, very short topic, but the return on investment is very high. Okay. Provided you have read the NCERT. Provided you have read the 11th NCERT, return on investment on planning is like very high. In case you're not someone who's familiar with planning, at least give a read through and then focus on the other areas. Okay. This is heartfelt advice. Please try to do that. Okay. Then finally, we have national income. Again, very important. Inflation, PPP, growth and development, sectors of economy. National income is like common, basic stuff. Again, you can take anything. NCERT is enough, or take a standard textbook, and that is also good enough. You can finish off. These are the major topics. Please take screenshots. Take screenshot of this. Also take a screenshot of this. These are the major topics I want you to cover. Without covering these topics, please do not approach the exam itself, because unless and until you have covered these topics thoroughly, it's going to be a bit hard to be really confident on clearing the exam, because economy forms a major chunk of the question paper. Okay. So give due diligence to these topics. Okay. I have not gone into all the smaller portions. I have given the major topics. Please learn that well. Okay. So now we'll be looking at the static questions of 2022. I hope everyone can read the question. With reference to Indian economy, consider the following statements. Increase in NER or nominal effective exchange rate indicates appreciation. Increase in REER indicates an improvement in trade competitiveness. Increasing trend in domestic inflation relative to inflation in other countries likely to cause an increasing divergence between NER and REER. So this is actually a static question. You learn about nominal effective exchange rate, real effective exchange rate as part of external sector. Basic conceptual question. Okay, basic conceptual question. Because it's a basic question, I put it in static and I mentioned the topics specifically, external sector. The explanation part, I won't be going too much into it. We'll come to this at last. Look at the next question. With reference to Indian economy, consider the following statements. If inflation is too high, RBI is likely to buy government securities. The example or the model question we looked at, that is with regards to money and banking. Again, purely static, purely static. Next question, it's on national income. Inflation indexed bonds. Inflation. If you look at your previous screenshots, inflation comes under national income. Okay. So again, the question is on inflation indexed bonds. So sometimes you can also put, okay, bond. So it comes under money and banking. Either way it is good. Either way it is good. I don't care. Since it talks about inflation indexed bonds, I'll be looking at this. Okay. Then tight monetary policy of US Federal Reserve could lead to capital flight. Monetary policy. Again, money and banking. If you look at your previous screenshots, previous slides, monetary policy comes under money and banking. This talks about that. Okay. Then convertible bonds, bond yield, everything comes under money and banking again. So this is with regards to that. Again, I put it under money and banking. Static portion has not yet ended. National income. The question is on which one of the following is responsible for maintaining price stability by controlling inflation. Who's controlling inflation? Who's maintaining the price stability? So we know it's RBI. So we can say it's a part of monetary policy, and RBI also comes under money and banking. So classifications are not very important as such. What is important is you cannot afford to skip these topics. Okay. These are basic static questions, and each and everyone who has prepared well is going to hit these questions for a 6. They will make these questions right. And if you cannot afford to make these questions right in this portion, especially the static portion, your chances of success are going to reduce by a large margin. Okay, because these are static questions. Those who have read the book properly will be able to attend this. The dynamic questions are obviously going to be a bit more difficult when you compare to the static questions. So please try to give focus on the static portion over the dynamic, because static portion, it is already there in your book. Okay, give focus on that. Now looking at the dynamic question, the first one, rapid financing instrument, rapid credit facility. We already looked at it in the earlier model. So external sector. Which of the following activities constitute real sectors in the economy? Farmers are harvesting their crops, textile mills, commercial bank, corporate body, etc., etc. Sectors of economy comes under national income. Primary sector, tertiary sector, secondary sector, quaternary, quinary, all those examples, basic, it's there in your NCERT. Again, but still, this is more of an applied level. So that's why I didn't put it inside the static part. I put it in the dynamic part, because these two topics, these two statements are a bit complicated. I will explain this so that it's easier. Which of the following activities constitute real sector in the economy? That is, in the economy, how many of these agencies are contributing to the economy directly? Okay, real sector means directly to the economy. Farmers harvesting their crops, yes, primary sector. Textile mills converting raw cotton into fabrics, yes, secondary sector. So 1 and 2 must be there. B has 2, 3, 4, I'll cut that off. C has 1, 3, 4, I'll cut that off. Now we are left with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now the statement question is on 3 and 4. A commercial bank lending money to a trading company. A commercial bank lending money to a trading company is not necessarily a real sector. Okay, usually only non-financial corporations are considered. So if you look at what are there as the real sectors, we can say enterprises. When I say enterprises, any enterprise of non-financial status. Okay, then households, then NGOs working for households. So not NGOs, non-profit working for households. These are the things we consider as part of real sector of the economy. Okay, it's a previous year question, bit difficult, but even with your basic sense, you know that 1 and 2 is there. And a corporate body issuing rupee denominated bonds overseas. Overseas economy, they are issuing rupee denominated bonds. Doesn't make a matter of real sector of the economy. Just remove statement 4. You'll get your answer, that is option A, 1 and 2 only. Dynamic questions, you'll have to take your base existing knowledge and then apply it. You have to take your base knowledge. So there are no tricks or tips or techniques you can apply for economy to an extent. There's no such thing for economy specifically. What you can do is you can prepare your static thoroughly, and once you have an understanding of the static portion, once you have a proper understanding of the static portion, your dynamic questions actually start becoming easier. Okay, I'll show it to you next. So this was on national income. You look at the next dynamic question, which is on external sector, talks about indirect transfers. Okay, transfer, you would have learnt about it in balance of payments. Okay, transfer, balance of payment. Indian company investing in foreign enterprise, paying taxes to the foreign country on the profits arising out of its investment. Paying tax, no. Foreign company investing in India, paying tax to the country of its base. Again, the tax is for that. An Indian company purchasing tangible assets, sells their assets after value increases, transfers the proceeds to India, possible. Foreign company transfers shares, and such shares derive their substantial value from assets located in India. This is the exact idea behind indirect transfers. It's there in balance of payment. Okay, it's there. It's there in that. It's a peripheral topic. It's a peripheral topic. But the funny thing is, if you have a proper understanding of it, this question would have been easy. Okay, even if you don't have it, I told you to look at certain areas, right? Balance of payments, very, very important. Just learn that topic. Take your standard textbook, read it well. Got your answer covered. Even in the case you didn't get it, at least you will come to 50-50, more than enough. Okay. Your idea is not to score 200 out of 200 in your prelims. Based upon the last 3 years trends, Average, the cutoff is now between 80 to 95. The cutoff is between 80 to 95. You score 100, 50%, you will clear the prelims exam, provided you have cleared the CSAT examination. So, even if 1 or 2 questions goes wrong in economy, it's not a problem. It is not at all a problem. But give due diligence. Give due diligence to make sure that you at least reach 50-50, and your static portions will help you reach 50-50. Just look at those areas properly. Just cover those areas properly and we'll be good to go. Okay. Next question is on public finance. Again, a current affair based question with reference to an expenditure made by an organization or a company. Acquiring new technology is capital expenditure. Debt financing is considered capital expenditure, while equity financing is considered revenue expenditure. This can actually be put as a static portion, as a static question. But because it was more of an applied nature, especially talks about new technology and everything, I decided to put it in the dynamic. Okay. So, acquiring new technology is a capital expenditure. Debt financing means to clear the debt, you are getting another loan and then just clearing off the debt. That is what we say as simply saying that is debt financing. That can never be considered as a capital expenditure because see, I took the loan from here and I ended a previous loan. My loan is still there. That is debt financing. It can never be considered as a capital expenditure. Equity financing is considered as revenue expenditure. Equity financing is good because I am getting shares. I am investing in that company. So, that can be considered as capital, where debt financing can be considered as revenue. So, it is the opposite. Answer is option A, one only. This comes under the topic of public finance. Okay, capital expenditure, revenue expenditure. Types of budget, we will be covering that. Agriculture question, system of rice intensification of cultivation. So, this is those unexpected question that comes up. We have no idea. That's why I put it under miscellaneous or agriculture. Okay, what if I learn agriculture? Even if you learn agriculture, this may not be a conventional topic. This is not a conventional topic that has come up. See, system of rice intensification of cultivation in which alternate wetting and drying of rice fields is practiced results in. This is not a conventional topic. Okay, bit dynamic. Then another miscellaneous topic. In India, credit rating agencies are regulated by RBI. Rating agency, popularly known as ICRA, is a public limited company. Brickwork Ratings is an Indian credit rating agency. Which of statements given above are correct? 1, 2 only, 2 and 3 only, 1 and 3 only, 1, 2 and 3 only. So, simply saying again, it's a miscellaneous topic because credit rating agencies not very important. It also talks about existing credit rating agency, Brickwork Ratings. So, it's more of a current affair oriented question. That is why it comes under miscellaneous topics. I put it under dynamic too. Okay. They are not actually regulated by RBI. They are rather regulated by Sibi. Okay. Just for your information, please do learn about your previous year questions properly. Again, another miscellaneous topic with reference to Banks Board Bureau. This is like comes under fiscal policy. Okay. But again, this is a bit of an old topic, not proper current affair as such, because Banks Board Bureau was created a bit years, few years back. But still it was asked. So, Governor of RBI is chairman of BBB? No. BBB recommends for the selection of heads for public sector banks? Yes. BBB helps the PSB in developing strategies and capital raising? Yes. So, answer is B, 2 and 3. But this was not a question anyone was expecting. The only thing people knew for sure, those who have learned, was Governor of RBI is chairman of BBB? No. That is appointed by the appointments committee. It's a separate thing. RBI governor has no role as chairperson of Banks Board Bureau. So, keeping these points in mind, just that knowledge was enough to remove it. If you had learned static portion well, you would have known that if such an important board like BBB, Banks Board Bureau, and if the governor of RBI was also the chairperson of it, you would have learnt about it in your static portion. Such an important thing, they would have definitely put it in the whatever standard textbooks you are reading. If it is not there in the textbook, large possibility, not always, large possibility it is wrong. So, believe in what you have learnt, because it's such a reputed organization, such a powerful position they are talking about with regards to Banks Board Bureau, and you think the people who are making up these textbooks, they would have forgotten to mention that topic. So, that kind of common sense, I have studied this, I have studied about RBI well, and I have not seen such a topic mentioned anywhere. therefore it must be wrong. That kind of absolute confidence will help you in your prelims examination. Okay. So this is another example of dynamic questions. Then this is with regards to national income. Share of household financial savings goes towards government borrowings. Dated securities issued at market related rates in auction form a large component of internal debt. Economic survey, basic, not even database, basic question of economic survey. So based upon the questions that we've covered, okay, 2022, external sector has 1 static, 2 dynamic questions. Money and banking has 3 static questions. National income has 2 questions on static, 2 questions on dynamic. Public finance, 1 dynamic question. Miscellaneous, 3 dynamic questions. So looking at this, I can clearly say that please give, again I come back to the topic, 5, 6, 2, 6, 8 is the kind of breakup. Okay, I have not covered all the questions, but generally it comes like this. Keeping this point in mind, I want you to focus back on those areas which I have shown earlier. Okay, focus on those areas. Money in banking, public income, public finance, national income, external sector, planning. These are core areas of economy which everyone is expected to attend, and from which you will get like 6 to 7 questions every year. And because there are so many questions which is easily understood by everyone, and anyone who has prepared well on it, they will score good marks on that, and that will actually boost your score to a large extent. The dynamic questions, once your static portion is good, automatically the dynamic portions comes together. Automatically it comes together. Being honest, economies, how do you say, individual topics, money and banking, public finance, all these are very, very closely interrelated, Every subject is interrelated, geography is interrelated, polity is interrelated, but even there you can at least separate it and learn. But economy, it's highly intertwined with each other. At the same time, the greatest advantage is it is a very small subject when you compare with the remaining static portions. So take the time, finish off economy as soon as possible. You are guaranteed to hit 15 questions in economy every year. And if you have prepared your static questions well, static portions well, and you have a decent hold upon the concepts and the application, 10 plus questions will always be with you. 10 plus guaranteed to be with you, provided you have covered the static portions well and you have some knowledge of application. Guaranteed to hit 10 plus questions, and that makes a massive difference in your prelims examination. Okay, so keeping this point in mind, I want you all to focus on that. I'll show the major topics once more, so that you can have an idea of what are the areas to cover, and with that we will finish it off. Okay, so money and banking, public finance, under money and banking, RBI, monetary policy, capital market, banking structure, function classification of money, public finance, budget, fiscal policy, FRBM, GST, tax structure, center state distribution. Then in external sector, BOP, exchange regimes, foreign investment, international agreements and trade agreements. In planning, history, 5-year plans, planning institutions, Niti Aayog and regional national planning. And finally, in national income, inflation, PPP, growth and development and sectors of economy. Okay. So with this, we'll be concluding this video. Please revise your static portions well. They will definitely help in your dynamic portions. In case you have any queries, feel free to contact us. And that will be all. Thank you, everyone.
Amrita IAS Academy.